panicked and drove directly into anti-tank ditches, becoming stationary targets swiftly finished off by Ukrainian drones. Nearly 200 Russian troops were killed in the failed assault, underscoring the catastrophic nature of failing an attempted breakthrough. While Russian forces initially achieved limited success southwest of Kostiantynivka, the newly improved and manned Ukrainian defensive setup decisively halted the recent, ambitious mechanized assault. The scale of losses incurred in this latest attack represents another severe setback for Russian commanders, reflecting both poor operational planning and underestimation of Ukrainian preparations. Nevertheless, previous patterns suggest that Russians will regroup and return, refusing to abandon their objective. Ukrainian commanders expect that Russia is already mobilizing additional units and equipment, preparing another offensive effort against the long-coveted Kostiantynivka sector. Ukrainian FPV drones ends Russian strike group spotted on battlefield south of Pokrovsk. The southern fields of Pokrovsk have become the stage for one of the most critical battles in the region, now defended by Ukraine's elite battalion. As Russian forces attempt to break out of the fields, they are met by Ukraine's layered defenses, where veteran drone brigades coordinate with artillery to repel the assaults with precision. The goal of the Russian forces in this area is to reach the border of Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. This would serve as an information victory, compensating for a lack of progress. Militarily, this would allow Russians to stabilize their western pincer and stretch Ukrainian lines further, securing their logistics network in the process. The main Russian advantage in this area is Ukraine's manpower shortage. This limits Ukraine's ability to fully contest the settlements and tree lines where Russians can press their numerical superiority. However, once Russian troops leave these covered areas and attempt to push into the open fields, their advances falter under intense Ukrainian artillery and drone fire. The Russian attacks are further compromised by a lack of trench networks in the open fields, as the Ukrainians did not build a lot of them in the first place. With Ukrainians not planning to hold every tree line due to their manpower shortage, Russian assault groups trying to gain ground are struggling to find large Ukrainian trenches and dugouts to shelter in. This keeps Russian soldiers out of cover for extended periods of time, making any attack a risky endeavor. Despite a lack of sufficient manpower to cover every tree line, the Ukrainians have an abundance of drones to detect the Russian assault groups. The Czech Artillery Initiative provides Ukrainians with millions of artillery shells, which allow them to conduct large artillery barrages on detected Russian positions and movements. In addition, the Ukrainian anti-tank ditches and razor wire fortifications have created choke points that are easy to monitor for Russian soldiers' movements. The recent redeployment of the elite Skala Assault Regiment reinforces Ukrainian defenses in the area. While Skala's assault battalions are being rotated out to rest and recuperate after intense combat in the Pokrovsk sector, their experienced drone and artillery detachments remain active. These units remain active, detecting, disrupting, and decimating Russian assaults, allowing Ukraine to hold ground with fewer troops while preserving its main assault forces and wreaking havoc on Russian forces. Geolocated combat footage from the area reveals a pair of Russian soldiers trying to cover themselves in a sparse tree line and play dead to avoid being struck by the Ukrainian drones. However, the Ukrainians detected everything that moved, and as a result, both Russian soldiers were eliminated. The Ukrainians are therefore forcing every surviving Russian soldier to be on a constant run in hopes of finding a trench or dugout to save their lives, as stopping would lead to their immediate elimination. To avoid being struck, Russian soldiers are using motorcycles to reach the Ukrainian positions, since they are more difficult for drones to track and strike. However, the Russian motorcycle assault units had their way blocked by anti-tank ditches prepared by the Ukrainians. This gives ample time for the Ukrainian drone operators to carefully target and eliminate the Russian forces that are being funneled into a kill zone. One Russian motorcyclist attempted to jump over an anti-tank ditch with his motorbike. However, he misjudged the width of the ditch and fell short, immediately being hit by a drone-dropped grenade. This careful utilization of open terrain, observation of predictable attack routes, and field fortifications allows the Ukrainians to compensate for their manpower shortage. Ukrainians maintain an effective defense to the south of Pokrovsk, fending off against numerically superior Russian units and forcing them into brutal grinding assaults with no cover to shield them. With the Skala Regiment's veteran drone and artillery units reinforcing the defense, Russian soldiers seem to stand no chance at all. The intensification of Russian attacks across the whole of the Pokrovsk direction is most prominent here. Russia desperately needs to widen its western pincer to continue its effort to take Pokrovsk into a pocket and avoid a repeat of the grueling and costly urban battle raging in Toretsk. On the other hand, Ukrainian drones destroy ammunition depot, buildings of Russian military brigade in Crimea, a Ukrainian drone strike on the Russian 126th Coastal Defense Brigade in Perevalny in Russian-occupied Crimea destroyed an ammunition depot and 4 buildings, according to independent media outlet Astra, citing its own sources. More than 2,000 local residents were reportedly evacuated from the surrounding area, although local authorities did not issue an official evacuation notice. Evacuees were temporarily housed in camps in the nearby village of Dobre. The Simferopol-Alashta road was reportedly blocked following the incident. Several service members from the brigade were reportedly injured. There were no confirmed reports of civilian casualties. The strike, believed to have been carried out using kamikaze drones, was first reported on May 16. In addition to the 126th Coastal Defense Brigade, Military Unit 12676, the 8th Separate Artillery Regiment, Military Unit 87714, is also stationed in Perevalny. Ukrainian FPV drones massacre a group of Russian infantry at night. More of Ukraine's first-person view drones see at night, thanks to tiny infrared sensors that see in the infrared part of the spectrum, and can detect the heat generated by a human body. There's a simple method to hide from these exploding night vision drones, however. Thermal blankets, which contain body heat, can help a wearer blend in with the cooler nighttime landscape. Consider recent thermal blanket failures along the 1,100-kilometer front line of Russia's 39-month wider war in Ukraine. On Wednesday night, a squad of Russian infantry moved toward positions held by the Ukrainian Army's 63rd Mechanized Brigade near the city of Lyman. The Russians all wore thermal blankets over their shoulders, but the blankets actually worked too well. The 63rd Mechanized Brigade's night vision FPV drones easily spotted the approaching Russians not by their heat, visible as bright spots on the drone's infrared sensors, but by their lack of heat, the cold spots among the surrounding foliage. A barrage of FPVs rained down on the Russians, who almost certainly couldn't see the lethal drones coming. The funny occupiers in the Lyman region put on anti-drone raincoats and thought that now they are safe, the 63rd Mechanized Brigade quipped. A photo apparently depicting the morning aftermath of the Wednesday night massacre revealed multiple impacts from FPVs and 5 or 6 discarded thermal blankets, some potentially concealing dead Russians. A second photo depicted 5 sprawled Russian bodies. The Russians assaulting Lyman chose the cheaper blankets and paid for it with their lives. Another Russian assault group had effective blankets, but wore them wrong, their limbs and heads poked out, radiating detectable heat and drawing the attention of FPV drones. These Russians' mistake is understandable. Because a thermal blanket traps heat, it can be very uncomfortable, especially during the summer. Russian troops have been wearing thermal blankets for at least 2 years, but the blankets were rare early on. It is doubtful that the enemy can supply these anti-thermal blankets, coats on a significant scale, tatarigami, even if they can only be utilized by small groups or sniper teams. They still pose a potential threat. With wider adoption, more Russians are undoubtedly hiding from Ukrainian drones. The Russian frustration grows bigger with every day due to the lack of advances, shortage of supplies, and a disastrous kill-to-loss ratio. This has forced Russian commanders to order even more desperate attacks, with Russian soldiers being turned into unintentional suicide bombers by essentially carrying explosive vests with them during assaults. In the Lyman direction, Russian forces have found themselves hopelessly stuck, unable to advance despite relentless infantry assaults. The repeated frontal attacks have become disastrously costly, leading to massive casualties at unprecedented rates. In addition, frontline Russian units are starved of supplies, making it impossible to sustain effective combat operations. In multiple engagements, Ukrainian drone operators have observed Russian soldiers being sent forward carrying individual mortar rounds to deliver to mortar crews on their way to the front, a desperate measure indicating a total logistical breakdown and highlighting the grim conditions Russian troops face in this sector. Geolocated video evidence has extensively documented how Russian forces continually get bogged down in front of Ukrainian defenses, immobilized by dense minefields, carefully placed caltrops, and relentless drone strikes. Ukrainian drone operators from the 63rd Mechanized Brigade have become exceptionally proficient at hunting down and neutralizing isolated Russian assault groups at night, with one crew eliminating 23 enemy soldiers in one night. Whenever Russian troops manage to briefly occupy new positions, swift Ukrainian counterattacks and drone bombardments immediately push them back or eliminate them. This cycle of attrition leaves Russian infantry units trapped in a futile loop of unsuccessful and deadly assaults. This extreme frustration has led Russian commanders and soldiers to adopt increasingly desperate and reckless methods. One striking phenomenon captured repeatedly in battlefield footage is the unintended emergence of kamikaze-like Russian soldiers. In a released video, a Russian soldier was running to assault Ukrainian positions with a grenade in his hand. But when Ukrainian troops met him with heavy fire, he began to retreat, fell on his grenade, and blew himself up. Instead of reconsidering their reckless tactics, the Russian command doubled down on the idea. Ukrainian FPV drones relentlessly destroy Russian infantry on multiple battlefields. Ukrainian Defense Intelligence has revealed FPV drone footage showing the destruction of Russian vehicles, infantry, and positions in a single attack. In a graphic display of desperation and futility, Russian soldiers attempted to fend off an approaching Ukrainian FPV drone with only long wooden sticks. The bizarre and hopeless scene unfolded near a trench where the invaders had taken up positions and attempted to fend off the drones built and deployed by Ukrainian Defense Intelligence. His improvised anti-drone defense proved useless. Moments later, he was eliminated. This failed attempt to counter a precision-guided drone highlights the widening technological gap between the Ukrainian forces and Russian infantry. While Ukraine's intelligence units are employing cutting-edge drone warfare with increasing efficiency, Russian troops are frequently left to face them with outdated tools or improvised methods, often to fatal ends. The footage released far beyond this single grim episode. It captures the relentless work of Ukraine's drone operators across several fronts, demonstrating the strategic value of small UAVs in modern combat. Among the key visuals, the targeted elimination of Russian infantrymen in trenches and open areas, with drones executing strikes with pinpoint accuracy. Another prominent feature in the video is the destruction of enemy military hardware. Russian transport vehicles, armored assets, and weapons caches are seen engulfed in flames, turned into twisted metal and ash. These strikes not only degrade Russian logistical chain, but also chip away at the morale of frontline troops, who are often caught by surprise. On the other hand, Russian logistics network collapses under Ukrainian drone campaign near Pokrovsk. Russian attempts to advance westward from Pokrovsk aim to create distance between rear positions and Ukrainian drone operators who are systematically destroying supply lines, command centers. Desperate Russian commanders tried to achieve a breakthrough at all costs. South of Pokrovsk, Russian forces are desperate to push westward, attempting to put as much distance as possible between their rear positions and the relentless Ukrainian drone operators targeting their rear. Their constant drone strikes are devastating Russian supply lines, command centers, and units moving to the contact line, severely disrupting an already weak logistical network. To counter this, the Russians aim to seize control of the small settlements scattered across the vast open fields in the area, which would serve as launching points for further assaults westward, while denying the Ukrainians the ability to do the same in the other direction. While frozen ground conditions technically allow Russian forces to maneuver their remaining armored vehicles more effectively. Their ability to conduct large-scale mechanized assaults has been severely weakened by the staggering number of vehicle losses sustained over months of fighting. Despite the solid terrain, the battlefield dynamics remain under Ukrainian drone dominance. Russian forces have found it nearly impossible to advance without being spotted, and any attempt at rapid movement results in swift targeting by Ukrainian artillery and drones. The regular Russian tactic of using the survivors of failed mechanized assaults to dig in along tree lines does not work with completely frozen ground, as it is too hard to dig in quickly enough before Ukrainians fully eliminate them with drones. Russian assault groups that manage to cross open terrain are often left exposed without cover and subsequently eliminated by Ukrainian drone strikes. With few alternatives, the Russian advance has been restricted mainly to the settlements in the fields, relying on spread-out buildings for cover. Several geolocated videos show the work of Ukrainian troops in dismantling the rarely available Russian vehicles. A Russian T-72B3M tank can be seen delivering soldiers to a position in a tree line, but at that very moment, 2 Ukrainian FPV drones can be seen already flying towards it, striking it precisely and destroying it on the spot. Another clip shows other soldiers riding horses through a village, again moving toward the front, however, with fewer weapons than the previous group. This shows that the implementation of new improvised cavalry units applies to all levels of the Russian armed forces, from highly trained personnel to the foot soldiers sent on meat waves. Meanwhile, Ukrainian mechanized units continue to operate effectively, reinforcing positions, rotating troops, and maintaining steady pressure on Russian-held settlements. Footage shows how two Russian fiber-optic guided drones attacked a Ukrainian Kozak 2M1 armored vehicle, but were unable to detonate, leaving the crew unharmed. Ukrainian FPV drone special operations eliminates Russian attack group in Pokrovsk. In the Pokrovsk sector, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces from the 144th Center, in cooperation with UAV operators, FPV drone teams, mortar crews, and grenade launcher units, carried out a joint operation that resulted in the destruction of Russian assault group. The group had previously disrupted a unit rotation, killing one Ukrainian service member and injuring another. The operation began with a targeted strike on a locomotive where Russian soldiers had taken shelter. FPV drones were used to engage the target, causing the locomotive to catch fire. As a result, 6 Russian soldiers attempted to flee the area. During the escape, 5 of the soldiers were killed by coordinated fire and drone strikes. The 6th, who was wounded, pretended to be dead and avoided immediate detection. Later, drone reconnaissance confirmed the 6th soldier was alive. Rather than delivering a follow-up strike, Ukrainian drone operators used UAVs equipped for dropping munitions to signal the soldier. Eventually, he surrendered. The surrendered soldier was guided toward Ukrainian positions using drone maneuvers and was then evacuated by special operations personnel in the Humvee vehicle. According to the group commander, call sign Pravyi, the decision to take the soldier alive was based on the potential value of a prisoner exchange, provided it could be done without unnecessary risk. Previously, operators from Ukrainian Phoenix drone unit have successfully targeted and eliminated multiple Russian assets and personnel in Donetsk region, according to a recent operational report. Using FPV drones, the unit engaged enemy positions and vehicles with precision, including several instances of close-in strikes on infantry. In one incident, Russian soldier attempted to conceal himself under a tree but was spotted by drone pilots. Another tried to maneuver around the same location but encountered Ukrainian drone mid-movement. These encounters highlight how real-time surveillance and strike capability are increasingly integrated on a small unit level. The report also confirms the destruction of several Russian vehicles and electronic warfare equipment. Among them were the UAZ van, one motorcycle, and notably the R-330ZH GTEL electronic warfare system. The latter is used by Russian forces to jam communications and drone signals, making its loss particularly significant. The GTEL system is designed to interfere with GPS, mobile networks, and drone control signals. Its destruction not only impacts the immediate operational capacity of Russian troops in the area, but may also improve the effectiveness of future Ukrainian drone missions by reducing signal interference. Casualty reports indicate that around 10 Russian personnel were eliminated during the strikes. Ukrainian operators have become increasingly adept at combining reconnaissance and attack roles within a single sortie, often achieving results without exposing their own forces to direct combat. Operators from Ukraine's 14th Separate UAV Regiment, working in coordination with other units, have located and destroyed Russian 9S-36M radar, a key component of the Buk-M3 surface-to-air missile system. This radar is a relatively rare and modern element of Russia's air defense capabilities. The 9S-36M system functions as the fire control radar within the Buk-M3 unit, handling target tracking and missile guidance. Its loss reduces the effectiveness of the system, which is designed to engage aircraft, drones, and missiles at medium to long range. According to the report, Ukrainian forces first disabled the radar's mobility by destroying its chassis. This made the system more vulnerable to follow-up attacks and ensured it remained in place for targeted strikes. 2 FPV drones from the 14th UAV Regiment were then used to deliver shape-charged warheads to the radar equipment. The use of cumulative warheads suggests the strike aimed to penetrate armored components and ensure damage to internal systems. As a result, the radar module was fully disabled. Without this component, the Buk-M3 launcher cannot independently detect or track targets, significantly limiting its combat function in the field. The Buk-M3 is among the newer missile systems in Russian service, and its radar units are not widely deployed. Operators from the 195th Support and Security Base of the State Special Transport Service of Ukraine have successfully shot down Russian Orlan-30 reconnaissance drone using a relatively inexpensive FPV drone. The Orlan-30 UAV represents one of the latest upgrades in Russia's family of reconnaissance UAVs. Compared to its predecessors, the Orlan-30 drone features improved optics and targeting systems, with the ability to operate up to 120 kilometers via remote control and up to 600 kilometers in autonomous flight mode. Its extended range makes it a significant threat, particularly when used for deep reconnaissance missions behind the front lines. Despite its advanced features and a reported price tag of up to $150,000, the Orlan-30 system proved vulnerable to Ukraine's growing arsenal of FPV drones. With smart use of inexpensive technologies and precise tactics, Ukrainian forces were able to neutralize the high-value target before it could carry out its mission. The success of this FPV drone strike illustrates a larger shift in modern warfare. Cost-effective, agile, and rapidly deployable, FPV drones have become a core part of Ukraine's asymmetric strategy to level the technological playing field against a larger and better-funded adversary. Ukrainian FPV drones mercilessly blow up Russian infantry heading towards Shevchenko village. A dramatic video captured by the Ukrainian 225th Assault Regiment's Black Swans drone unit and translated by Estonian analysts depicts an increasingly common phenomenon. Russian soldiers exploding after a nearby drone strike cooks off the ammunition the soldiers are carrying. The blast apparently took place somewhere in Sumy Oblast in northeastern Ukraine, where Ukrainian brigades have been slowly pushing back an incursion by Russian infantry. Infantry self-immolation is one of the second-order effects of the accelerating demechanization of the Russian armed forces as Russia's wider war on Ukraine grinds into its 42nd month. The Russians have written off more than 20,000 combat vehicles and other heavy equipment, far more than they can immediately replace through new production and the reactivation of increasingly scarce stored vehicles. With only a few exceptions, Russian troops now march into battle in Ukraine or ride on motorcycles. Even cargo trucks are in short supply, meaning the troops themselves are the supply line. But in carrying bullets, grenades, and mines on their persons, they risk self-destruction from drone near misses. Perpetua recently identified in one shocking video around 150 destroyed Russian trucks on a 2-mile stretch of one of the several roads threading west from the Russian stronghold of Seladov toward the village of Shevchenko, a few miles south of Pokrovsk. That's a wrecked Russian truck every 70 feet. That road of death, which the Russians persist in using, with predictably bloody results, was patrolled by the drone team supporting one particularly aggressive Ukrainian battalion that held the line around Shevchenko, and in December waged a successful campaign against a Russian force 20 times its size. The Ukrainian campaign halted the grinding, year-long Russian advance on Pokrovsk, although temporarily. The Ukrainians moved these drone units down to this area, and that's when they started setting up their kind of drone superiority, where they took complete control of the sky, Perpetua recalled. The Russians basically couldn't fly drones, he added. Their drone would take off, Ukraine would shoot it down and then attack the drone pilots, and they couldn't fly drones. The Russians were complaining of like a 10-to-1 or worse drone ratio. That drone advantage is what eventually led to this stopping the Russian attack through shutting down all of these roads, Perpetua said. The Ukrainian drone pilots had this policy where they wanted to first take out the Russian drones and then, once those drones were taken out, go for the supply routes. Heavy hexacopter Vampire drones fitted with night vision gear and carrying loads of grenades or mines, many of them flown by the famed Ukrainian Birds of Magyar drone group, inflicted the most damage on the roads to Shevchenko. The Russians are adept at downing the 50-pound Vampires with 2-pound first-person view drones that blow up on contact.
Бегом!
But having suppressed the Russian drone teams around Shevchenko, the Ukrainian drone teams could fly their vampires with impunity. Smaller FPV drones joined the vampires, including some fiber optic models. After blasting every Russian supply truck in sight, the drones ranged farther south and east and located the depots where the Russian regiments were storing the trucks and other vehicles that remained. They went to every vehicle depot and just blew them all up, so they had like no tanks, no BMPs, Perpetua mused. They took out all their MRAP armored trucks, and then they just shut down every single road, so they starved out the Russians. To reinforce Shevchenko, the Russians had to walk for kilometers. Their engineers were saying, "We have to build a minefield, but we can't bring any trucks up, so everyone has to carry 2 mines?" Perpetua laughed. So there's these videos of infantry marching up and, they're being told that you have to march 20 kilometers. You have to bring all of the food and ammo to last 2 weeks, and you have to carry 2 landmines. The practice is now widespread in the demechanized Russian military, already harried by Ukrainian drones, artillery and mines. Russian infantry now have another problem: their own explosive baggage. Previously, Russian troops are closing in on Pokrovsk from the east and south. After the capture of Shevchenko village just south of the city, Russian forces are less than 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, from this key logistics hub sitting on the western edge of Donetsk Oblast. The fighting is extremely fierce. The Russian invaders threw all available forces forward, trying to break through the defenses of the Ukrainian troops. Ukraine had been suffering from an extensive infantry shortage, as well as disputes within the military command leading the defense. Pokrovsk is the last stronghold in the southwestern part of Donetsk Oblast, holding back Russian forces from advancing further toward Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and the regional capital of Dnipro, home to 1 million people and serving as the main hub for Kyiv's operations in the southeast. Ukrainian FPV drones attack Russian infantry positions, leaving the enemy defenseless. The Ukrainian 3rd Assault Brigade conducted a groundbreaking operation by employing FPV drones alongside ground-based kamikaze drones to attack fortified Russian infantry positions. This forced the Russians into panic and allowed the Ukrainians to recapture territory without even setting their foot on the ground. The Ukrainian 3rd Assault Brigade, now the leading formation within Ukraine's 3rd Army Corps, after recent restructuring, operates in the Borova direction and is frequently deployed in offensive operations across the entire sector. Renowned for its battle-hardened capabilities, the brigade works closely with local units, demonstrating exceptional planning, tactical precision, and advanced assault methods that set the standard for modern warfare. This status was recently confirmed through an unprecedented achievement. They executed the world's first successful assault entirely using air and ground drones, capturing Russian-held positions without deploying infantry. During the assault, FPV drones first struck enemy fortifications, causing severe damage and panic among the defending troops. Following this, unmanned ground vehicles loaded with powerful explosives moved toward the already battered Russian dugouts. As the first drone, loaded with anti-tank mines, detonated, the Russian soldiers became aware of the imminent death threat and quickly created a makeshift cardboard sign to signal their surrender. With no Ukrainian soldiers physically present to engage, the enemy troops found themselves defenseless against this innovative, drone-only offensive. After their surrender, the surviving Russian soldiers were guided by an aerial drone directly to Ukrainian lines, where they were taken prisoner without resistance. Shortly afterward, Ukrainian infantry calmly entered and secured the captured positions, including nearby forested terrain, without firing a single shot or spilling a drop of Ukrainian blood. Officers from the 3rd Assault Brigade emphasized the significant tactical value of this operation, highlighting that the positions had previously resisted conventional assaults by neighboring Ukrainian units. The success achieved solely through drone warfare marked a crucial turning point. The tactical logic behind the combined use of aerial and ground drones is straightforward but effective. While aerial drones excel in reconnaissance, target identification, and precision strikes, ground-based UGVs offer complementary capabilities due to their higher payload capacity, improved concealment, and ground-level approach. Ukrainian ground drones, many of them affordable and domestically produced, can carry significantly heavier explosives compared to airborne drones, making them ideal for breaching reinforced enemy positions or performing destructive assaults from a new, unexpected perspective. Additionally, ground drones provide versatile battlefield support. Beyond offensive roles, they serve as evacuation vehicles, resupply carriers, or even remote-controlled mining platforms. Ukraine's latest advancement, the ground drone Termit, illustrates these capabilities effectively, being a highly mobile, tracked robotic system capable of carrying up to 300 kilograms. Its low-profile, tracked chassis ensures smooth operation across various terrains, and its powerful battery enables several hours of continuous, remote operation over substantial distances. This versatility allows it to function as a kamikaze system, a medical evacuation device, a combat module carrier, or a resupply unit. Such technologies increase Ukraine's tactical flexibility and significantly reduce the exposure of infantry to lethal threats on the front line. The 3rd Assault Brigade continues to lead innovation in warfare, marking a distinct evolution in combat operations. Although drones had been extensively utilized before for softening enemy positions, reconnaissance, and support tasks, successfully capturing enemy-held territory exclusively through drone technology represents a new era in ground combat operations. Given Ukraine's ongoing manpower constraints and the critical need to minimize human casualties, drone-driven assaults offer invaluable advantages. Overall, the revolutionary Ukrainian drone-only assault likely marks a cornerstone moment in modern warfare history that will continue shaping its future. It underscores Ukraine's commitment to continuous technological innovation under extraordinary wartime pressures. Ukrainian military developers and engineers are tirelessly working to enhance drone and robotic capabilities, seeking innovative solutions to counteract Russia's numerical superiority and evolving battlefield threats. Ukraine deploys RPG firing drones to crush Russian flank attempt near Torsky. The Russians decided to attack from another vector and break the Ukrainian deadlock near Torsky, but were surprised by the latest Ukrainian innovation in drone warfare. By mounting RPGs on drones, the Ukrainians found a way to make their air assaults even deadlier. Near Lyman, the Ukrainian 63rd Mechanized Brigade remains firmly in control, effectively anchoring the defense at Torsky through innovative defensive measures combined with preventive attacks against advancing Russian forces. This Ukrainian formation not only maintains entrenched positions, but also proactively disrupts enemy movements, refusing to allow the Russians a chance to stabilize their positions. A striking footage captures 2 Ukrainian infantrymen clearing a forest near a settlement, encountering Russian troops hiding in a dugout. After intense close-range combat with grenades and gunfire, the cornered Russians chose to surrender and were taken prisoners of war. Facing staggering casualties, the Russians recognized the danger of continuing frontal assaults against the fiercely defended Ukrainian positions around Torska. As a result, they attempted a new tactic, intensifying operations southwards across the Zherebets River, hoping to outflank and encircle the Ukrainians from behind. However, previous Russian vulnerabilities remain unchanged. Troops must cross exposed terrain under constant Ukrainian drone surveillance, FPV drone strikes, and precise artillery fire. Every movement makes them easily spottable targets that the Ukrainians engage without hesitation. Aware of their limited infantry numbers, Ukrainian forces increasingly implement the drone line initiative to neutralize Russian assault groups before they approach their defenses. Drone operators in this program receive points for eliminating priority targets such as infantry and enemy drone teams, which they can then exchange for large quantities of upgraded equipment, incentivizing aggressive hunting of Russian troops and dramatically boosting effectiveness. Numerous videos from the front line near Torsky illustrate this vividly, showing Russian infantry eliminated by precision grenade drops from Mavic and Vampire drones. In addition, Ukrainians have recently begun employing RPG-equipped drones to devastating effect. While traditional drone drop grenades are often spotted and engaged by the Russians, which forces operators into dive bomb tactics that usually compromise accuracy, grenade launcher drones offer a solution through stabilized aiming via crosshair. One notable video displays a Ukrainian operator identifying several Russian soldiers, firing a precise grenade launcher round from the drone, repositioning swiftly, and firing again from another angle to eliminate the survivors. Such innovations allow even single operators to decisively repel entire Russian assaults, even when severely stretched infantry-wise. Ukrainian soldiers praise the new technology by stating that, logically, a drone equipped with a grenade launcher can fly in, fire, turn around and reload, making it highly effective. Ukrainian operators emphasize the key tactical advantage that grenade rounds arrive almost instantly and the enemy can't dodge them, which means more accurate hits. At the same time, it can strike from farther away and face fewer electronic warfare countermeasures. Another operator explained that infantry is used to drones hovering overhead to drop grenades, so they can time their movement around the drone's range or shoot it down directly. But if the drone instead starts shooting at them mid-flight, it drastically shortens the window of opportunity to move out of the way or shoot it down. Effectively, these new drones can disrupt each assault by forcing Russian troops to seek cover immediately upon hearing drone sounds, especially given modern grenade launchers' variety of potent warheads that can be used, with armor-piercing, thermobaric, and even incendiary ones. Ukrainian forces near Lyman continue to adapt rapidly, refining drone warfare tactics to overcome their limited infantry and decisively halt Russian advances. Russia's attempted shift in strategy at Torsky, seeking new vectors of attack, failed dramatically due to relentless Ukrainian drone strikes, precise grenade drops, and innovative grenade launcher drones. These advanced tactics have not only stabilized the defense line, but also ensured Russian offensives remain costly and ultimately ineffective. Ukrainian elite FPV drones destroy Russian Vanguard Brigade with Latvian tech. The international effort to support Ukraine's fight against Russia, led by the drone coalition with Latvia at its forefront, is set to deliver 12,000 drones FPV this year by July. As a result, the deadliest drone brigade, Magyar's Birds, responsible for the hottest part of the front line, has already decimated multiple brigades of the Russian vanguard. Among the most active contributors, Latvia has emerged as a pivotal partner in this effort, as the country that started the initiative and coordinated with the UK to get the bigger countries involved. Last year, the country pledged more than 5,000 drones, ranging from reconnaissance to first-person attack drones. These drones were manufactured by 7 Latvian defense companies, highlighting the country's growing military-industrial capabilities. Delivering 12,000 drones in the first half of this year, Latvia also provided drone operator training and technical support, enhancing the operational effectiveness of Ukrainian drone units across the front lines. Nowhere is this support more evident than in the drone-dominated battle space around Pokrovsk, where Ukrainian drone warfare, spearheaded by the Magyar's Birds drone unit, has devastated Russian logistics and troop movements in thousands. Drone strikes here have crippled supply convoys and positions, enabling Ukrainian counterattacks that secured key ground vital for Pokrovsk's defense. Founded by Robert Brovdi, call sign Magyar, it evolved from a small team into a full-fledged brigade, comprising drone pilots, engineers, electronic warfare specialists, and intelligence officers. They operate in decentralized teams focused on deep surveillance, kamikaze drone strikes, and electronic disruption, often destroying Russian artillery and air defense systems far beyond the front line. Latvia's drones play a direct role in enabling their missions, with FPV drones now being mass-produced and supplied by Latvian companies. Magyar's Birds can maintain a high operational tempo without fear of depletion. These FPV drones are fast, reliable, and easy to operate, easily adjustable for both direct strikes and reconnaissance. Integration with Latvia's training programs ensures operators are not only well-equipped, but also highly skilled due to the general experience of the unit across some of the hottest frontline points. This level of foreign support has proven to be force multiplying. The results speak for themselves as, according to Magyar, the unit now averages a successful strike every 6.5 minutes, a rate that continues to rise as experience and support grow. In total, Magyar's Birds have inflicted heavy losses on Russian personnel and equipment, with Magyar himself estimating a kill-to-loss ratio of around 1,000 enemy combatants for each drone operator lost. Regarding confirmed kills, in the first 10 days of April alone, Magyar's birds managed to eliminate 564 Russian soldiers and wound 311 other targets, which means that one Ukrainian drone brigade is eliminating one full Russian assault brigade every 4 weeks. Beyond direct battlefield impact, the unit releases constant video footage of their operations, serving a psychological warfare function by sowing fear and hesitation among Russian forces and potential recruits. The success of Ukraine's drone warfare efforts underscores the importance of the work of the drone coalition. With Latvia, its support, and the support of other allied nations, it remains critical for Ukrainian forces to maintain the upper hand in drone warfare. This allows frontline units like the Magyar's birds to dominate key sectors like Pokrovsk, preventing Russia from seizing the initiative and exhausting their firepower. With new technologies, such as drones with fiber optic connections offering fire control, regardless of enemy electronic warfare, the potential exists to strike deeper and harder than ever before. Precision drone strikes by ballista drone operators destroyed the enemy's main air defense and rocket systems in one operation. The ballista unit of the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces managed to destroy the Russian Bukem 3 surface-to-air missile system, along with its entire ammunition load, as well as the Uragan-1 multiple launch rocket system. Within minutes of target confirmation, the ballista operators launched their strike drones, achieving direct hits on both systems. The Bukem 3 system, estimated at approximately $45 million, including its ammunition, was completely obliterated, severely impacting enemy air defense coverage in the sector. The destruction of the Uragan-1 MLRS further degrades Russian forces' ability to deliver concentrated rocket barrages against Ukrainian positions. Ukrainian FPV drones operators neutralized Russian convoy attempting to avoid detection. Ukrainian forces from the 65th Separate Mechanized Brigade have successfully destroyed multiple Russian armored personnel carriers in a FPV drone strike. The operation marks another example of how Ukraine's innovative drone tactics are eroding Russia's battlefield advantages. According to an official statement on the brigade's page, the successful strike was carried out by the Ronin unit, an experienced group within the brigade specializing in unmanned aerial warfare. Operating covertly in a forested area far from the front line, the unit detected and eliminated at least 5 Russian armored personnel carriers. The Ronin UAV unit used strike drones to target a hidden Russian column that had taken cover in a tree line. Russian forces had likely moved the vehicles into the area to evade surveillance and airstrikes, but Ukrainian reconnaissance located them and carried out a precision strike. The ability to strike targets deep in enemy-held territory demonstrates Ukraine's growing drone warfare capabilities. Not only does this complicate Russian efforts to regroup and reinforce, but it also underlines how drones are reshaping the nature of modern mechanized warfare. While the exact location and time of the operation were not disclosed for security reasons, the destruction of the armored convoy is expected to have tactical consequences for Russian operations in the area. Every destroyed vehicle represents lost firepower and disrupted planning for Russian forces. On May 30th, the 413th Battalion of the Unmanned Systems Forces released a compelling video compilation showing how Ukrainian electronic warfare systems neutralize Russian FPV drones. The footage, captured from the enemy's own devices, demonstrates the disorienting effects EW has on incoming drones, rendering them ineffective. In each instance shown in the video, Russian drones failed to reach their intended targets. The footage underlines the invisible yet powerful role that EW plays in defending Ukrainian positions. Not a single drone hit its target, and that's a beautiful thing because they were Russian drones, the battalion stated. The significance of these successful countermeasures goes beyond mere technical achievement. Every disrupted drone represents a life potentially saved on the Ukrainian side. As the soldiers noted, the quiet work of EW operators often lacks the dramatic visuals of artillery strikes or FPV drone hits, but its impact is just as critical. Electronic warfare has become a cornerstone of modern battlefield strategy. In the Ukrainian context, it serves as a protective shield, silently blunting the enemy's most immediate threats. The video highlights how these systems effectively confuse or disable the guidance mechanisms of Russian drones mid-flight, often causing them to veer off course or crash harmlessly. The soldiers from the 413th Battalion emphasize that such operations are carried out quietly, professionally, and effectively. Their message serves to spotlight the often overlooked domain of electronic warfare, one that operates without the roar of engines or the flash of explosions, but with precise, high-tech execution. Last week, Ukrainian FPV drone community scored a striking victory against Russia's Shahed drones. On May 19th, the Wild Hornets group, which specializes in FPV drone operations, released raw footage showing Ukrainian Sting interceptor drone in action. This engagement underlines the growing effectiveness of small, agile FPV drones as frontline air defense assets. Developed specifically to counter loitering munitions, the Sting drone combines high speed with pinpoint control, allowing operators to exploit the relatively vulnerable rear and underside of larger UAVs. In the clip, the Sting drone approaches the Shed UAV, maneuvers from behind and below its blind spot, and delivers a direct hit, neutralizing it before it can release its warheads on Ukrainian positions. Previously, Ukrainian fighters leveraged community-funded drones in an ambush against Russian Ka-52 helicopter. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces have successfully carried out an ambush operation that resulted in the destruction of Russian Ka-52 Alligator attack helicopter. The operation, which involved a coordinated strike by 7 FPV drones, was documented in a dramatic video shared by the Ballista unit. The strike took place during daylight hours on May 16th, though the exact location on the front line remains undisclosed. According to the footage and accompanying report, Ukrainian forces had set up a concealed command post in a visually striking landscape. From this position, they tracked the Ka-52 helicopter's altitude and trajectory in real time. Upon detection of the target, the team launched 7 FPV drones, guided by a digital interface showing the helicopter as a red dot encircled by the green indicators of the Ukrainian drones. One of the drones managed to intercept Russian aircraft mid-flight, resulting in a direct hit and presumed destruction of the helicopter. The recording ends at the moment of impact. The ballista unit stated that the Ka-52 helicopter attempted a combat patrol over Ukrainian territory, but was intercepted by the Bombas Tactical Strike Drones Group. Ukrainian activist and volunteer Serhiy Sternenko noted that the FPV drones used in the operation were funded by public donations, emphasizing the growing role of civilian support in Ukraine's drone warfare capabilities. At this time, the Russian military has not officially acknowledged the loss. Russia's 23-vehicle assault fails in Donetsk kill zone. After facing repeated humiliating setbacks at Pokrovsk, the Russian command redirected their offensive toward Kostiantynivka as they collided with the Ukrainian defense line. The Russians sent a massive assault group with dozens of armored vehicles to break through, but were funneled into a devastating kill zone. The goal of Russian forces west of Kostiantynivka is to achieve a decisive penetration through Ukrainian defensive lines, creating opportunities to outflank and encircle both Pokrovsk and Kostiantynivka simultaneously. This would disrupt Ukrainian defenses across 2 crucial sectors, potentially destabilizing a massive portion of the front line. Following a relatively rapid Russian advance in this area last month, Ukrainian forces swiftly redeployed elite units to stall further gains, successfully buying time for reserves to reinforce secondary defense lines. Despite incremental Russian progress since the initial breakthrough, Ukrainian defenders succeeded in slowing down enemy momentum, preventing the frontline collapse that Russia urgently sought. Now Russian forces find themselves confronting fortified Ukrainian positions to the southwest of Kostiantynivka, where they've been unable to advance further over the past 2 weeks. The Russians currently hold one significant advantage: the establishment of a bridgehead across the important Vychok River. This allows them to transfer larger numbers of troops and equipment across the water barrier, increasing their offensive potential and the intensity of their attacks. The geographic position of the bridgehead offers flexibility for attacks against Kostiantynivka or Pokrovsk. But given limited resources, Russian commanders seem focused primarily on pushing toward Kostiantynivka. This tactical choice also threatens the nearby Ukrainian defense lines near Toretsk, increasing the reward of any successful maneuver for the Russians. However, Ukrainian defenses around Kostiantynivka are robust and carefully designed, significantly shaping Ukrainian tactics and granting a decisive defensive advantage. Elaborate anti-tank ditches and natural terrain features effectively funnel Russian forces along the heavily fortified Pokrovsk-Kostiantynivka highway. Ukrainian engineers have constructed a sophisticated network of layered fortifications along this critical road, establishing a formidable defense in depth. Additionally, rows of dragon teeth along the highway serve as concrete barriers to halt Russian armored assaults, while hidden Ukrainian positions in the fortifications deliver devastating fire. Ukrainian artillery and drone operators wait in concealed positions, ready to unleash intense fire on enemy formations, entering these well-prepared kill zones. Faced with mounting difficulties and aware of the increasingly reinforced Ukrainian positions, the Russian command opted for a desperate gamble. They planned to launch one large-scale mechanized assault rather than their more typical smaller infiltration tactics they had been relying on recently. Hoping to surprise and overwhelm Ukrainian defenders, the Russians dispatched one of the largest mechanized columns seen in this sector for months, consisting of at least 23 armored vehicles and over a dozen motorcycles. However, the column drove directly into a carefully prepared Ukrainian kill zone along the fortified highway. To avoid running into mines on the road itself, the Russians drove beside it, but the Ukrainian minefields extended into the fields, destroying several of their vehicles. The battle was brutal and chaotic, lasting over 3 hours as Ukrainians obliterated this massive Russian assault part by part. Ukrainian FPV drone operators and artillery systematically dismantled the Russian formation as it struggled to advance due to the obstacles. The engineer vehicle destined to clear a path through the dragon's teeth was destroyed, as were the soldiers on motorcycles that could have blown a path through them with explosives, causing the Russian armor to bunch up and be devastated by artillery.